Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello, hello. They can see us.
Glad I put on pants today, that's for sure.
We'll just have to take your word for it, of course.
That's true. You have no way of knowing.
Do not challenge him, Emma. Lots of lovely people here from all over the country, look. And all over the world, rather.
I know.
All over the world. Fabulous.
Hey, Emma, why don't you start? Because that's like the corner that I see first.
So, hello, everyone. Is it too soon to say Happy Yule? I'm going to say no. Absolutely not. So, Happy Yule, everyone. So, my name's Emma. You may have seen my new book lurking around, Season Songs. So I'm an animist, a witch, and an obeah woman. I live in the UK, but I'm not from London. I'm a bit further up north, the Midlands, though Londoners call me a northerner, though northerners would disagree. But I live in Robin Hood country. Season Songs is my second book with Llewellyn. My first one was Witch Life that I wrote. Well, I wrote in the lockdown, the first COVID lockdown, but I think it released 2022. So animism is my jam, but I love all things magic, witchcraft. I will literally talk you all to death. So.
Go for it, Jason.
All right. I'm Jason Mankey. I wrote Llewellyn's Little Book of Yule, which came out in 2020. I've been writing for Llewellyn since 2016, and I've written 9 books, or 7, because I co-wrote 2 of them. It depends on if you count those as full books or not. I am a Yule addict, so it's very exciting to be here. I live in California, in Silicon Valley, where it's a very chilly 58 degrees Fahrenheit today, which means like we're all wearing parkas and believe that it's snowing because we're wusses. We should just say Rachel go next and just see which Rachel goes next.
You go. I will go.
Hi, my name is Rachel Henderson, and I am an author of 3 Llewellyn books. My latest one is The Natural Home Wheel of the Year, which goes through the various Sabbats of the Wheel of the Year, including Yule. I live in Wyoming, where it is cold, but we are not wearing parkas because it is not cold enough to justify that we have people out in shorts and short-sleeve shirts because we're weird that way. And I'm happy to be here to talk about Yule today.
And that leaves me. There's no one else left. I'm Rachel Patterson. I'm from the UK as well, but I'm further down south than Emma. I am on the coast, right at the bottom almost. I am, let's see, I've written 25 books now, I think, 3 of them with Llewellyn. The one for today is A Witch for Every Season. I am an animist like Emma as well, very much all about connection, energies, working with the energy of each month, each week, and all the Sabbats. I am a big Yule fan as well. Yeah, Mrs. Claus, that's me. Very, very happy to be here with everyone. Oh, there's questions coming up.
Oh. Can we speak briefly about the differences, similarities, overlap between Yule, Christmas, and the Winter Solstice? Who wants to go first?
Well volunteered, Jason.
Yeah, Mr. Yule himself.
I think there's a huge amount of overlap between these 3 things. So the Winter Solstice is probably humanity's oldest celebrated day, with celebrations going back 10,000 years and monuments dating back 7,000 years. So people have been excited about this time of year for a very, very long time. The Roman Saturnalia was a huge influence on Christmas customs, especially up until the 19th century, when the holiday began to change a little bit and became less drunk and rowdy, which is a real shame for me because I like my holidays drunk and rowdy. But
depends whose house you're in.
but I think that this is the most pagan of all of the Sabbats. The way that we decorate the Christmas tree may or not actually be pagan, but pagans decorated with evergreen boughs. They decorated with holly. They decorated with mistletoe. All of those things were there. They gave away presents at the Saturnalia and the January calends, which are just as important, which were celebrated the first week of January. There's a ton of overlap, and I think some of the imagery is the same. Like, oh, the Son of God was born, and we're like, oh, the Son is reborn, right? I mean, it's just a U or an O. Take your pick.
I agree. I think there's loads of overlap as well, and particularly as an animist, because I feel that, you know, for me, the Sabbats aren't necessarily just pinpointed or calendar marked days. They mark the ebb and flow of the energies that all kind of coalesce at that time. And I just think sometimes people can get too bogged down in what does this mean or what does that mean. I'm very much a lush, so I'm just like, celebrate what you will, enjoy the moment, connect to the land, and all will be merry.
Yeah, no, me too, Emma. For me, it is about the flow of energy, and you can. I think this Sabbath, particularly as you get to probably even mid-November, you can start to feel that energy in the air, can't you? You can almost taste that festive energy starting to build up. Taste of cinnamon, I reckon, but it is important to me. I think the Sabbats are dates on a calendar. Mother Nature doesn't necessarily read the calendar, so for me, I'm the same. It's about working with the energy and connecting with it, rather than any of the, you know, this or that, or this means that, or like you say, it all melds together. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm the only pagan in my family, so I work with the Christmas celebrations that my family does, and for me that's more important. It's the family, it's the friendship, it's the getting together, it's the food, obviously. That's far more important to me than any of that religious stuff.
We're a big old pagan family. Mine is. So we celebrate. We celebrate the solstice. Partly because in the past we had issues with children going to different households and everything. So by saying, okay, we're celebrating the winter solstice, we always had everybody together. But yeah, there is lots of overlap between these. I mean, it's this is the time of year because of the winter solstice and because of that whole the cold and the snow, with people just going. Lots of different religions have holidays around this time. It's just something about it is a season at a time of celebration, of, you know, getting tired of the dullness and the cold and the snow, and you need something to look forward to. So let's have a party.
I love this time of year because it feels like everybody's partying along, right? I mean, it's only really Halloween, Samhain, and then Yule, Christmas, where we get like the big overculture feels like they're celebrating with us. And I just think that adds energy and power to this particular time of year.
I agree. I just love it. I think there's something about, you know, the first kind of frost of the year when it really feels, because sometimes where I live, autumn and the beginning of winter can kind of mush into one because it's normally raining. But this year, yeah. But I think sometimes, so when you feel that first frost, it's like, oh my goodness, it begins to build that anticipation, I think.
I think that's, for me, is why it's more important to work with the energy in the area that you're in. I'm guessing, Jason, you don't have a lot of frost.
You know, we get it every once in a while, but, you know, like the days are still shorter here. I mean, you really pick up on that. And it does get colder. I don't live in Los Angeles. You know, it's not going to be 80 on the winter solstice or anything like that. But we don't get snow.
It has to be flexible, I think. The Sabbats have to be flexible, I think, to work with wherever you are in the world.
So we have a question here on favorite ways to celebrate the solstice, Yule, and what have you. For for me, it's all about cooking and baking. You know, this is the time of year that it's you, having the oven going keeps everything warm. So we do a whole lot of baking. My sister, we get our annual shipment of fudge for my sister, and all of that. And then and then we do our gift giving on the morning of the 21st, where then the kids get to, you know, rip into their presents. And but yeah, for us, it's cooking, it's food.
I love all of it. So it's the food aspect, but for me, it's kind of different. So I see different aspects. So there's the mundane aspect, which is, you know, all of that fun stuff. And one of my favorite things to do is, aside from the eating and the cooking, is just, you know, the whole getting the house ready for it with everybody. Because in my house as well, like, I'm the only pagan person. So, you know, it's a way for everybody to all connect. But if spiritually, I think there's nothing better than just a fire outside with some warm spiced cider or mulled wine. Not even just for a ritual, just that kind of, there's something special about fire in the dark at Yule. I love it.
Yeah, I reiterate food, baking. Baking's my escape. Baking is my therapy. But yeah, and I think this time of the year is perfect for it. You are indoors a lot more, so it is the whole big dishes of casserole with dumplings and big steamy puddings and custard and things. Yeah, that's making me really hungry now. But the whole, as soon as you start getting the decorations out, it is that anticipation. I think that's a good word to use, isn't it? It is that expectation of something fantastic that's going to happen.
For me, Yule is like 1,000 different little things that I have to do to make the season complete. It's beginning to decorate in mid-November when all of my friends say it's too early. It's going to our Dickens Fair, which is like a recreation of Victorian era England.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and I love that. Tonight is my coven's Yule ritual, and to me that is like a big, loud celebration with wassail, and I love it. And I look forward to the actual winter solstice, where there's that quiet night and you can go outside and there's no traffic or whatever, and it's so dark and so lovely. Going to the pub Christmas Eve and seeing my friends. Christmas morning when my wife and I open presents. It's like the holiday is not complete unless I do all of these little different things. And I see all of the things that I've collected over the years for the holidays, all the different decorations and ornaments and stuff. I've always said that Sabbats are really seasons. They're not just a day. And I really feel that, especially at Yule.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone's asked about connecting with the energy. Because I know the winter is hard for a lot of people if it's dark and cold, and it doesn't feel sometimes like the most joyous of times, does it? For me, I think that it's back to food. Always. I'm very passionate about seasonal food, not growing, but the food that's grown locally to you, eat seasonally, helps you stay connected to the seasons. It's also cheaper, it also tastes better. So for me, food is a big part of it, and all of the wonderful festive foods help you connect with that energy of it as well. But it is the decorations as well. I think that, you can never have too many fairy lights, in my opinion. That helps you connect as well. And it is just standing outside in your garden first thing in the morning or last thing at night in the darkness and connecting with that energy there. I think that's very special as well.
I love that. I think that makes it so meaningful because, the lights and all of that stuff is amazing, but it's amazing if you've got like all the people to share it with, or, sometimes people might not have the best families, and, this time can be hard for lots of reasons. So I think taking the time to really connect to what's real, for me, it does a lot in terms of centering my problems, changing, not necessarily my perspective, but it does give me perspective, and that perspective allows me to kind of move forward a little bit. So really it is about taking the time to connect, and I think not feeling guilty about taking the time for the self, because I think so many people do feel that guilt. Everyone's so busy and all of that jazz, but I think like you said, Rachel, I always take my morning cup of coffee outside, regardless of the weather. Sometimes it's freezing or pouring it down, but you know what? It's refreshing, and when you go back inside, you just feel so different. And I think the spirit of the land, the places where when you feel safe, can give us so much peace that can help us kind of connect with those shifting energies of that time.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I find that connection for me, there is the food, but also music. I have my Yule playlist. It's a lot of not so much traditional Christmas music, but there's a lot of music out there now. There's a lot of different. My favorite is Santa Claus is Pagan Too, which is a wonderful. That always just gets me in the mood. But like, the waitresses, Christmas wrapping and Christmas in Hollis, that sort of stuff. All of that, I think, gets me connected in the mood. And then I also find that journaling is helpful too, because this is sort of the end of the year, calendar-wise, and we've got the new year coming up. And so this is a good time to just kind of reflect and think about, okay, what does it mean that the solstice is the rebirth of the sun, that we're getting the sun back, and that we've gone through some of the hardest times now, and there's this new beginning just on the horizon. So yeah, music and journaling, I think, for me, are the ways that when I'm not feeling particularly festive or Yuletide-ish, that gets me connected.
One of the things I love about Yule is that it has like so many different feelings and energies associated with it. I think when we look at like big traditional Christmas stuff, it's loud, it's, gaudy, it's in your face all the time. But, used to be that people told ghost stories this time of year. I mean, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol is a ghost story. It was a time to be fearful because it was so dark. There's lots of different energies at this time of year, and no matter how I feel like I can tap into them. So there's like no one way to celebrate solstice. It doesn't have to be loud and bright and crazy all the time. Sometimes, it can be a little quiet, a little somber, a little depressing. And I think that's a part of this year too. And our next question is about recipes. I love wassail. I'm just going to throw that out there. Tonight, our Kevin, we've got a bunch of apple cider. I'm going to put rum in it, and then we're going to add magical ingredients, and then we're going to drink that stuff. That to me is what Yule is all about.
It's probably slightly different depending on what side of the pond you're on, because I bet Emma and I are Christmas pudding, the figgy pudding, mince pies.
Mince pies.
British food is a dare. It's just a dare.
How dare they?
Really? You're going to start stuff on during the forum? Yeah, for us, it's for in my book, and I mentioned that my big go-to for this time of year for food is hot chocolate, because it's decadent. You can add a shot or two of peppermint schnapps to it, so that gets warms you up that way extra. And that's my go-to for feeling for food when it comes to Yule and Christmas and all of that.
I think it's the spices. For me, it's the cinnamon, the cloves, the star anise, the orange, and all of it. When I say mince pies, they don't have ground beef in them. They used to back in Tudor times, but the ones we eat now are just they're mulled dried fruit, basically, in pastry. But it's those spices, it's those festive spices that I love in all of those things.
Me too, especially if they are topped with a little bit of brandy cream or brandy butter. Oh, perfection.
And we do have Turkey Christmas Day, but that did come over from you guys. We used to have roast goose. That was our traditional Christmas dinner.
So we have a question here. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. Just so we have questions, a few questions about rituals / spells for Yule. Any go-tos?
I mean, we do that wassail ritual every year, whether my coven wants to or not, because I just make them do it. But also, like, there, I do Saturnalia rituals. Tonight we're going to do a little bit for Saturnalia, which at Saturnalia they used to dance a lot and shout. The whole Christmas Carol thing was stolen from pagans, by the way. That's absolutely true. So that's a good one. Also, the sort of the idea of the rebirth of the sun is like a beautiful, more quiet ritual. And then, of course, there's the Oak King Holly battle. That's another thing I love about this time of year. There's like 1,000 different things you can do for ritual, and it can be loud and festive and joyous, or it can be really reflective and quiet and meditative. And it all works because that is the power of Yule.
I think the celebratory side, I like to kind of do an honouring, so like they were saying, but like, because I love the story of the apple tree man, where, you know, there's a poor old farmer who ran out of money, and with the last of that year's cider, he poured it as thanks over the roots, and the apple tree man spirit emerged and, you know, led him to riches. So for me, you know, that's a beautiful way of connecting and giving thanks. So that I don't live near any orchards, but you know, I make elderflower wine with the elderflower from my garden and from like local places. So it's just a really beautiful way to give back, to think about what we take from the land, and to also give back. But then there's also, you know, I really like to focus on the self, because it's that darker time of year. So anything where, you know, I'm really kind of taking the time to reconnect and just to, I don't know, a bit of self-care.
My coven's doing a gratitude ritual this weekend. I think we forget to be thankful at this time of the year. Everything is so commercialized these days, if you let it. So we do like to take the time out just to do a little ritual for a bit of gratitude. Thank you for the things that we have.
I really like, the idea of giving back. For us, it's putting down seeds and the like for the birds. Where we moved to now, we have lots of crows and ravens, and we will put out over, you know, the month food for them, just as a way of, hey, we've got some prosperity ourselves and abundance, and we are passing it on to the natural world.
People used to wassail the trees, which is like a celebration that I love. So I try to do it in my garden in the backyard because I grow stuff. I don't just drink all the time. And, you know, and I'm like super thankful, you know, and pour out a little bit of my cider or whatever to be thanks. And people are mentioning the winter solstice vigil. I will admit I'm way too lazy to stay up that late now. It's like I want to go to bed.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. We do in England, we do have quite a few wassailing festivals and events and things. People do still wander out and put pieces of bread in the trees and things like that. It does happen in some of the villages still.
You all do the holidays better than we do. You know, the U.S., we put all of our basket, like everything in the Christmas basket, and ignored everything else, right? And you've got like so many cool little things going on, and you even get Boxing Day. We're like done. There's like Valentine's crap up on December 28th.
We still probably have a bit of that too.
Yeah, I think you do Halloween better than us. You do
Yes.
You do Halloween better than us. But yeah, Boxing Day is quite a British thing. That's the day, the 26th of December, from the 1800s apparently. Although the origin is a bit sketchy. It could relate, don't quote me, could relate to staff and servants that received small boxes or gifts of money on that day. It could also be connected to collection boxes that were placed in the churches to collect money for charity. No one's really, you know, for sure. But basically, it's a day to sit in your pajamas because you can't move from all the food you've eaten the day before.
Gatto for breakfast is a must.
That sounds like a good day to me.
The best sandwich ever. The day after Christmas dinner sandwich on Boxing Day is the best. All of the cold turkey and the stuffing in a sandwich. Brilliant.
My friend's husband bakes a pie with the turkey, the pigs in blankets, and he puts pickle in it.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
So we have a question about any other easy ways that we can incorporate the natural world into our creations and celebrations this time of year. And one of the things that I'm doing this year is because we moved and we're in a much smaller space now, so we don't have a lot of room. My altar setup is much different now, and I decided this year that I'm going to make my tree my altar. I was like, well, you could actually do that because, all of the stuff that we hang on the trees and that they all have, there's a lot of symbols from paganism and from witchcraft in there. So my big thing is, if you have a tree, that's part of the natural world. Even if it's a fake tree, that's, you still have that a bit of connection through symbolism. And I am just that way I have throughout the entire season or until Yule time, I've got this altar that reminds me all the time of that connection.
Perfect.
I just
I
love
do know
everything we decorate with because it's what's green this time of year, right? I mean, you see a tree, you see holly, whatever it is, people chose it because it was alive, which in a lot of places there's nothing alive in December.
Yeah, using plants is such an easy way to kind of bring the outdoors and interconnect to nature. I also like to make spirit bottles. I'm a bit of a crafting nerd, so I like to make all kinds of things. And so I have spirit bottles for like ancestor worship, but they're a really good way to kind of connect with your genius loci, especially if getting outside isn't necessarily going to be easy. So you can just collect natural items from your walks, evergreen materials. I always say if it's fresh stuff, let it dry a little bit because you don't want it to go a bit moldy. And then you can place that on your altar, and it's just a really good way for spirit to anchor when it's not in its natural setting. And you can use that in lots of kind of ways. It can just be, you light a candle and you kind of say whatever you like to it, or you can incorporate it into wider rituals. So that, I think it's something that is quite accessible.
We had a question about Santa. I love Santa. I mean, he's just kind of the spirit of the holiday season. But there's a rich world of gift givers too. It's not just Santa. There's Befana in Italy, which is a witch. You also have the Christ Kindle, which sounds really Jesus-y, and it started that way. But now she looks like a fairy princess. So there's like female gift givers too. It doesn't just have to be old dudes and stuff. And of course, there's a Krampus going to put children in a basket and whip them like they deserve. No, I'm not advocating child abuse. I really am not. But all those things are magical. I love all that stuff. Who cares if it's pagan or Christian in origin? It's magical.
Yeah. It's the spirit of it, isn't it? It is the energy of it.
I think, this one of the things that makes Yule and this time of the year so special is the fact that there's, like we said before, that so much overlap that it is about magic. And even if you are not pagan or witchy, that there's still, like, I kind of call it secular magic. So like Santa and all this other, stuff that comes along with it, so that it's, when they say it's the most magical time of the year, it's kind of true because you have so much of it emphasized and concentrated on this one, series of just 2 or 3 weeks where, there's magic everywhere, no matter where you're coming from or what your background is or what your current belief system is.
Yeah, I love that. I saw a post on social media the other day and I can't remember who it was, but it kind of made me chuckle because it's almost kind of true. And they said, like, the very idea of Santa Claus himself it's pure magic because you've got this figure, whether it was real or not, now is, whether it's only in our minds, we leave him offerings of food and he magically appears in our house. Pure magic.
It's quite scary, the idea of it, if you think about it. Some strange
isn't it?
coming into the house in the middle of the night stealing your food.
Well, and this is the only time of year, like, the bigger culture talks about magic, right? It's a Christmas miracle. I've never had anyone say to me in the United States, "Hey, it's a 4th of July miracle. We didn't run out of beer." It's always Christmas, a little bit Halloween, but it's always this particular season where it just feels like anything is possible and anything can happen. That's a very special feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the world is full of elves and fairies and mythical creatures, and it's normal. Normal to us, but normal to everyone this time of the year.
Oh yeah.
Coat. Yes, I like Yule goat. I do like a Yule
We're all
goat.
sitting here waiting for more questions.
Notice someone talking about a Yule goat. Love a bit of a Yule goat.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, the Yule goat's great too.
You go with the cat, the Yule cat.
Oh yes.
Yeah. You can read about all those things in Llewellyn's little book of Yule, because I wrote the little book on the holiday. Sorry, that was terrible.
Everyone,
terrible. I'm just trying to have enough money to buy my wife more dinner. That's all.
Okay, final question there. What do you want folks to know about celebrating Yule? One final thing that you'd like them to know about celebrating it.
You're asking authors to do one thing.
I know.
Make it personal. Make it personal. There is all these expectations that get put on people around this time of year that you get caught up. Like, I'm a filthy anti-capitalist, so I'm all about, making gifts and not spending a whole bunch of money. But if you can find the personal in it, then it just makes it more meaningful.
I think have fun and don't be afraid to explore. Just have fun with it.
I always say there's no absolutes. So there's no one way to celebrate anything. The only way that you have to celebrate a Sabbath is how you feel that you need to celebrate the Sabbath. So find what's important to you, find what's emotionally resonant, and celebrate that. And, enjoy the season and get the most out of it for yourself.
Yep, all of the above.
Rachel, you have to show everybody your cool shirt too, though, again, because that shirt is cool.
He's quite magnificent.
Yeah.
I think make it easy on yourself too. Having cooked the whole family dinner last year for the first time ever, make life simple for yourself as well.
I just wanted to mention I will post the link to my playlist because there's been a couple questions on the side there of people asking, so I will post that. It's a YouTube. It's very basic.
For you weirdos who have Apple Music, my playlists are available. You can find me, and there's a bunch of Yule ones, but you have to be that 1 weird % of people who use Apple Music and not Spotify. I live in California. I don't have any choice. I think they just sign you up. They just inject the apple into your arm.
Like as soon as you cross the border, they're just like, here's your Apple.
Yeah.
Here's your iPhone. Here's your Apple subscription.
Right. And pretty much. Thank you all for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And
thank you everybody for.
I've had such fun. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Thank you.
And my fellow authors, you all are awesome. And
thank you. And so are you.
And I could just listen to the English ones talk. You could read a phone book and I'd be enchanted.
What hope? Pip. We don't all talk like that.
No, I'm very common. This is a very common accent.
America's awesome. It's just, wow. I'm in the middle of an episode of Ted Lasso. It's great. Or The Crown or something like that. So making my Yule dreams come true.
Thank you to everyone before Llewellyn cuts off completely.